This is an introduction for new users of our LMS, our learning management system. You'll see the LMS works best if you're using a browser such as Internet Explorer, as shown down here, as opposed to Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or others like that. Just the videos, everything tends to be smoother and work better, less glitches. The other thing you should know when you're using this system is that pop-up windows need to be activated. So if you don't have that activated in your browser, you want to be sure to do that. So the way you find the LMS in the system on any computer should have Workbench. You go to your Start menu, usually it's in your lineup somewhere, you'll see it like this. When you click on that, this is the screen that opens up. You've got all these tabs you can click on and gives you options down here depending on the tab you click on. If you go to the Training tab, find it in the lineup here, click on it, and you'll notice there's an icon here you can click on called Learning Management System. This one, just to note, is for administrators or supervisors to assign people to work cells and run special reports. You typically won't need this unless you are one of those people. Most people need this Learning Management System icon with the graduation cap. We click on that, and you're going to get a screen that asks you to log in that looks like this. Your username, the first time you log into this system, is going to be typically the first 3 letters of your last name followed by the first 3 letters of your first name. So my name's Josh DeBrew. It would be Deb Joss, for example. Now the password, the first time you're into this system, is password, P-A-S-S-W-O-R-D. Now I'm going to just put in a different username, just pretend that's mine. And then, like we said, password, because it's my first time in this system. And then we click enter. Now because it's the first time in, it's going to ask me, what's your current password? Well, like we said, it's password. And then it says, well, what's your new password? You have to set it for something different. Like it says here, it has to be at least 5 characters in length, no more than 50. So let's just make one up. Do something that you know you'll remember. Type it again to verify, and then click submit. Now one other thing it's going to do is it's going to say pick a security question here. Okay, so you need to pick one. Pick one that you know you'll remember the answer to, and then type the answer to it in here. Once you've done that, click submit, and it brings you into the LMS. Now this is the typical view of the LMS. You'll notice My Training. That's the key area you're looking for when you go in here. It lists all the training that's either currently due already or it's coming due soon. And the due date's listed usually. If there's no date, that means it's due right now. These icons are important too. You see when I scroll over it, it just shows up here. These icons kind of tell you what type of class this is. So for example, a competency has this little orange or purple icon. If I click on that, name of the class, it tells me as a competency I have 2 ways of accomplishing this training. I could do it this way, which the blue icon means I have to schedule it in class with somebody. It's a one-on-one or an instructor-led type. If I don't do it that way, then I can also take it online. Any online icons you see like this mean that I can just click on that right now and it'll launch the class and I can take it right here at the computer. So a competency means I have 2 options. Either one of those will accomplish that training requirement. The general rule is if there's an online option to take it, always take the online option. To get back to the screen, you can X out here. It brings us back. Notice this icon. This is an assignment. Most of these typically, by clicking on the name of it, would be like a procedure that you're supposed to review and then click a button that says submit, just to acknowledge that you've reviewed that document and you understand it. That's what an assignment usually is. So those you can do right here at the computer as well. Remember we said these kind. You click on this, it's not going to launch a class because remember this is an instructor-led type of class. So it's not launching anything, but it's documenting that you need to take this somehow by setting it up with somebody. Okay, so this is the main screen, this My Training area. There might be page numbers down here if you have multiple, like this whole thing is filled and then there's more than that, you can click on the page number down there. You'll notice the training history lists all the training that you've ever had. It separates them into online courses as well as in class. Remember, the blue icon were these types. The green icon were these. Notice for the online courses that you've taken in the past, it gives you the date you took it, the status, and it gives you an option here. If you were to click this button, it'll allow you to relaunch that course and take it again. Or maybe you just want to see part of it again to refresh yourself. So if you ever have a question on what's recorded for training you've taken in the past, you can look in this training history tab. Again, we X out here, brings us back. Training reports, it says in this case no available reports to me. You can look in there and see if there were reports, they'd be listed here and you could run them. These can be set up individually for people as needed. Training references. There's some instructions in here that tell you things you may need to do. These are some general instructions, the student training portal, kind of like we're doing right now, an overview of how the system works, except it's in a document form rather than this video you're watching. The My Profile tab, it'll have your name here typically when you last logged in, but if you click on this, it allows you to change your password at any time if you want to, or to change your security question and the answer. So that's where you would do this. Your learning plan. This is where all your training requirements are listed. You notice how I had to click this arrow, bring it up or bring it down, up, down. So it's expanding all the details. You'll notice it lists for every class the status of that. So you can see everything, whether it's met or not met. You can collapse it all, expand it all, print from here if you want an overview of all this. You can sort all of these results by certain ways. So a lot you can do to see your overall training requirements at the company. We X out here. This training catalog is like optional training for people. Only the training that shows up in here is required. But there might be other training that you're interested in. It says there's 55 items in here. If you clicked on it, notice nothing shows up until you click search. Then it lists everything. Now the process for all of this is that if you decide, hey, I want to take defensive driving, I want to add that to my training because I'm interested in it, even though it's not required, you would click add to my training. It says this e-course requires approval for all enrollments. Would you still like to add it to your training? If I clicked add right now, it would send an email to my supervisor saying, Josh has requested this class, do you approve it? And then they have an option to approve it, and if they do, I'll close out of this, close out. What it'll do is add it to the My Training section next time I log in here. And it'll record it as required training with everything else. So that's the training catalog. You view it as optional or extra training, but not necessarily required. The training calendar is used more to schedule training events. So a good example would be CPR, AED, first aid training. That's an instructor-led class. We usually would set it up, have people sign up, a certain enrollment maximum number for that. If we set up a class and said, hey, next week Wednesday we're going to be holding a class in this location, whoever's interested, go into the training calendar and sign up. So you can see nothing's in there right now that's scheduled. But if I click on it, just as an example, if there was CPR training scheduled for this day, it would show up on here. I could click on that class and then it would allow me to sign up for it. So that's an overview of the LMS and how it works. Now another thing I want to show you lastly is this. This is like an internal messaging system. So for those that don't have email or their own personal computer at work, this allows you to still email certain supervisors or people within the company. One example where this might be helpful is you want to leave a note with Josh or your supervisor that, hey, I got hung up in this class, it didn't work, there's a glitch, or this didn't make sense, I got a question on it. And you can't find them directly, you could leave them a note this way. If you click on it, you'll see it opens this box, and you could just click New Message, Now it asks, who do you want to send it to? So you click here. And you can scroll down this list and find the supervisor that you want to send it to. You may want to send it to me. Click here. Click confirm. It added my name now to there. You just click your subject. Hey Josh, I love this training. You rock. And then, you're the best training guy around. And then click send message. That email is going to go to me, and then I can respond. Now one thing I could do, I could send you a note in here as well. So next time you're in, if you clicked on here, it says no messages, you'd have a message that would show up here. You could click on it and see it. So it's a way to email back and forth even though you maybe don't have a computer here at work. If you have any questions with any of this system, feel free to ask your supervisor or Josh DeBrew, the safety director. Be glad to help you.